Hello folks, Fuzz here, welcome to another World of Warcraft Battle for Azeroth beta video. And just recently, in the last patch or so, the Alliance War campaign has begun to become implemented on the server, so I thought we'd take a look at that today. So in order to really start this off, well actually you can do this from level 110, because the first quest involves collecting 100 war resources, which you just get from general questing by collecting the treasure chests that are around the zones. So make sure you pick this up before you really go out and begin your first questing experience. And then by the time you get to level 112, you should have the 100 resources that you need to advance the quest, and it's at level 112 that you can do this. If you're familiar with the Class Hull campaign from Legion, then you're going to feel right at home with the Battle for Azeroth War campaign. It's a different campaign for each faction, of course, and it's going to involve sending you across to the other faction's continent in order to complete quests and recruit followers for your mission table. Incidentally, if you want to read the quests, then you'll have to pause the video because I'm not going to be dwelling on them for too long for the sake of the video. So the first major quest is just going to involve completing our first mission. And unlike in Legion, we are actually going to have to wait 2 hours for this to happen. So we do have our first follower now in Falstad Wildhammer. And we're just going to have a look at his abilities here. And then we're going to throw him into the mission, and then it's just a case of waiting in order to complete the quest, and then we can hand it in. And as you can see, it's going to feel very, very familiar. The mission interface, everything is the same as it was in Legion. We just have a different set of followers and a different set of missions to complete. We are still after artifact power, but this is artifact power to boost our Azerite necklace as opposed to a weapon here. And I'll see you in about 2 hours' time. And thank you guys for your patience. Let's go ahead and complete and see what the next set of quests are. Now, there's, as I say, not the whole implementation of the Alliance War campaign yet, even for the initial starting quests. And unfortunately, it does bug out for me in the end, so I can't even show you everything that is available on beta. But hopefully this will give you a good idea of what to expect as we go through. Now, once you've gone ahead and completed this quest, you'll notice that we can't really complete the next mission, so we'll ignore that for now. That's absolutely fine. So we're just going to go and head back out on deck here, where the next part of the chain will be waiting for us. So the next quest, this is really the first quest, major quest of the campaign, since it's actually going to involve us moving over to the other continent. And up until this point, you would only have been able to access your main faction's continent. So this is actually going to be a new adventure for us. And at first I was a little bit unsure when Battle for Azeroth was announced, with the fact that there's going to be 2 smaller continents, one for each faction, for levelling to level 120, as opposed to one big continent, which is what we've become accustomed to over previous expansions. But from what I've seen so far, I'm actually liking how this works, because you kind of feel like you're exploring a new land, even when you shouldn't be able to do so through the campaign. And you still, of course, have your own continent for normal levelling. And the good thing about the campaign is it does give a break, and the Legion one did this as well. It does give a break from the standard linear path of levelling from zone to zone. So I'm a big fan of the way that the campaign is evolving, and the way that it's been brought over the last expansion. And so the good Admiral here will transfer us across to the new continent, where the quests shall continue. The other thing you might have noticed as well before we picked up the first quest is that you had the interface that you were familiar with probably from the artifact weapons when you select those, to actually select where the campaign goes. So you have all 3 zones available right from the get-go here, and I've chosen Zuldazar, but you could have chosen Nazmir or whatever the other zone's called instead. And it doesn't really matter what order you choose these in, because ultimately the war campaign is going to take you to all of the opposing faction zones in order to establish your stronghold and what have you. And the good thing as well that I noticed is that once we go ahead and start to establish this foothold here, we are going to be unlocking many more quests as well on the opposing faction's continent. Now, this is going to happen even before level 120, just as we're going through the normal levelling experience. So we can actually take a break from our main faction's continent. The one thing we do have to be aware of course, is that the opposing faction is going to heavily be, around these particular areas. And especially with war mode, which, by the way, I don't do PvP. I've just never really found it appealing. I've never really got into it all that much throughout my time playing World of Warcraft. I've much, preferred being a PvE player. But war mode, which allows us to turn PvP on out in the world from the faction city, in the Alliance cases from Stormwind, actually gives you better rewards. You get 15% more experience, for example, and certain quests reward you with more Azerite. Now, this has actually inspired me to turn PvP mode on, and I've actually been having a blast doing so. It's actually made me enjoy the game a little bit more, and I probably wouldn't have done this had war mode not been a feature available in the expansion, because, you know, I was on a PvE server before and I was happy to stay that way. But yeah, it certainly brought a new sense of adventure with war mode, and now that we're on the factions continent, obviously that's going to come into play quite a bit more. Well, to start us off then, there's 4 pretty standard World of Warcraft style quests to do here, so I'll get these done and be right back with you. I'm actually liking this zone, actually. It's my first experience with it. I've not played a Horde character as of yet, but it's kind of reminiscent of some of the troll zones with the architecture and that in Classic WoW, along with perhaps, say, Arathi Highlands as well. It's got that kind of vibe to it anyway. And this quest is a lot of fun, actually. So you get to become this giant fire elemental, and we have to kill 200 of the goblins that are a little bit further down on the beach. But we do, of course, have some extra abilities to help us on our way. In particular, we have an ability that turns us into a giant fire wave, and we can just basically just destroy the area that we're in. And an ability as well that just spurts fire up from the ground on all the enemies that are in the nearby area. So I'm just showing you that one now, and then we'll move on to what is, in my opinion, the most fun of them all. Look at this. And we just get to basically go bowling with all of these goblins here. So obviously it's an easy quest, but it's a heck of a lot of fun. And man, the dude that let us turn into a fire elemental, I'm thinking, why can't he let us do this for some other quests as well? We'd storm through the expansion then, wouldn't we? Literally. There we go. And we'll just start backtracking, since they do respawn quite quickly. I'm guessing on the live servers there's going to be a lot of fire elementals around on this quest, especially near launch. Just a few more to go here. And you can dismount from the... well, it's not really mounting, but you can turn the fire elemental off at any point. But obviously it's going to be a good idea, since it's high speed compared to your normal character, to get back to the quest giver before you do. And then we can go and hand in the next quest.
You got my attention.
Okay, so at this point then, we start to see more quests opening up. And these are actually quests that become available because we're establishing our stronghold. But you can distinguish normal quests from the war campaign quests, because the war campaign quests are kind of darker, orange, legendary style colour. So I'm going to ignore the normal quests for the purposes of this video, but also if you press L to open your quest log, then there's a distinct category for the war campaign quests as well, just in case you were confused as to which were which. And the next set of quests for the war campaign do take us across to the other side of the zone, so we're going to hop onto this boat here, and they will take us across there safely. There is some funny dialogue as you go here, but I'm going to skip the rest of this journey because it is quite lengthy. And we'll see you on shore. So this next area is called Talanji's Rebuke. And we're literally just stopped or dropped off right on the desolate sandy area here. There's lots of shipwrecks and stuff around the place. So we will be investigating those in due course. But for now we're just going to head back into the lush area here, where the quest givers shall be awaiting. And we have another Alliance encampment all set up and ready to go. There's also a flight point, so we don't want to neglect that. That would allow us to traverse back and forth between the camps that we've already discovered. You can't use the flight points, by the way, to traverse the actual continents of Battle for Azeroth, but obviously there'll be other means to switch between continents as we continue on forth here.
Well met. Be good.
Welcome. Safe travel.
So for this next set of quests, and there are quite a few here actually, we're going to be bashing the undead pirates, as well as healing up some of the Alliance soldiers and burning corpses before they can be raised as undead as well. So it's going to take a bit of time to get through all of these quests here. I'll go ahead and skip once more. There's also a quest to loot some crates. I actually didn't notice that one and didn't end up doing it until a little bit later on. So I had to end up killing more pirates than was absolutely necessary. But I'll go ahead, as I say, and get these done. Right, so we'll start handing these in. And it's a shame that this chain ends up bugging out on me in a little bit, because so far it's been going quite smoothly. And this is, I believe, the first iteration of the war campaign. It has literally just been made available on beta for the first time. So I guess on the other hand, it was running smoother than expected.
See you soon.
And once we've gone ahead and accepted all these quests here, we're going to be heading back out towards the boats, where we'll find a horde vessel that is still very much in non-wreck form. You can just see it over in the distance. Now, this is where the problems began, unfortunately. I could not get up onto the deck, and the only way up is to use this rope here. Obviously, there's no flying available at this point in the expansion or anything like that. And no matter how hard I tried, and I did try, trust me, I tried restarting the game, I tried editing the options texts, I just tried all sorts of stuff, I could not get the game to allow me to board the boat. I checked the comments for this quest on Wowhead, and there was only 2 at the time of making this video. Neither suggested that the quest was bugged for them. So maybe I'm doing something wrong here, or maybe I'm missing something. But I could not get to board the ship. It was really frustrating me. I was really enjoying this quest line, but it seems I'm going to have to wait for Blizzard to patch whatever's going on here. But if you've got any workaround for this, guys, then please do let me know in the comment section. But thanks for joining me today, folks. I'll come and pick this up again in the near future when we can proceed from this point. But if you've enjoyed watching this video, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to my YouTube channel. And I'll see you again soon for more Battle for Azeroth. Goodbye.